for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Elcha?
Here.
Mr. Lindemann?
Here.
Mr. Ramos?
Here.
Mr. Burry?
Here. Action D, approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of December the 13th, 2022 work session. Mr. Lindemann.
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Selchow. Any discussion regarding the minutes? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes. Anybody want to address the board?
No, sir.
Item 2A, discussion, action on the approval of the proposed district annual expenditure budget for fiscal year 2023, 2024. Mr. Zucker.
Good morning, Mr. President, board members. Thank you for being here. Again, it's that time of the year where we propose the budget for next school year. You have the package. One of the main things that I want to start talking about, the first page is the property tax. And as you know, every year the Board of Supervisors of the county approves those in their August meeting. So we're going to have an approval in August 15th. The proposal last year, or this current year, I should say, property tax is at 4.6431, primary and secondary both. The next year, it has a slight increase, going to go up to 4.7003. The reason why the slight increase is because of the adjacent waste fund. The district is going to utilize whatever we have currently on that fund, $211,000 for the high school project for sidewalks and for the access to the emergency vehicles and stuff like that. So I don't want to be with no money on that fund whatsoever starting this school year. So we're levying for $100,000, which again, it's that slight increase that we're recommending for that property tax. Any specific questions about that?
I have one, Mr. Soto. Have you calculated how that small increase would affect the per $100 of
We haven't yet, but it's 5 cents, I believe, increase on the property tax, and again, depends, multiply by 100,000, let's just say. Then we're talking about, if my math is not wrong,
It's
like
point zero five seven
0.05.
five cents, so roughly six cents, right?
right, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Again, any specific questions? Again, as a reminder, we're talking about the mainly the M&O allocation of the monies. So mainly this budget is the M&O allocation and the capital or district additional assistant, which is for capital items the district purchase. A few years ago, if you remember, the state was cutting on the district additional assistance until last year they started giving us 100% of that allocation for all districts in the state. As the board approved and recommended, this budget includes the 5% increase to all teachers, the 75 cents to all classified, the new salary schedule for admin. So all of that is included in this budget. Another point of reference, the comment that I wanted to make is the number, as you know, the declining enrollment is still a factor. According to the last revision with this current year, there's only a difference of one student. So we're hoping that once school year starts and we have the first revision, then we have more students, and then we can increase that budget by the number of
And that enrollment
students.
is 3,584
584.72.
students.
And that includes, obviously, preschool, elementary, middle school, and high school. For preschool, the only, allocation we get is just for the special needs preschool kids, not for all of them. And again, the state hasn't changed the, only half of the kindergartners also. So the district pays for the other half, basically, allocating that.
I have a
Go
quick
ahead.
question, if I may. Have we been able to fund any extra teaching positions, especially in the elementary?
Right now, based on our numbers, we're not getting any new additional ones based on the current numbers we have. And in the next 2 weeks, we are having a closer look, seeing if any enrollment in K-2 is above the projected 28-to-1 ratio that is in, in our books. And that's when we're going to make a determination. But I've been meeting closely with the elementary principals to kind of watch those numbers, because I know that is important.
So we have
Yes.
time yet
Yes,
to-
yes,
in
yes.
case
Uh-huh.
the students come up.
Yes.
We normally wait 10 days after school starts to allow kids to either drop or to come in. And that's when we contact the schools again to see what the numbers are on every specific grade. Again, most of those, when that happen, we go to the grants, Title I or Title II, to kind of support that. But if there's room on the M&O, then we put them on the M&O. But we wait at least 10 days when school starts to make those decisions.
Final changes, but we are looking at those
Yeah.
numbers for K-2.
Okay, thank you.
Other members of the board, Mr. Smith?
Historically, do you usually have an increase in enrollment after the beginning of the school year? Or
I will say yes, not drastically, but we gain sometimes, I remember at one point we gained like 20 kids. And again, based on a $5,000 average, so we're talking about a $100,000 increase. So it's not a big change from what we
It's
propose,
additional,
and yeah.
Okay.
And again, this is the proposed budget. We're going to have an actual adoption of the budget on our next regular meeting on July 5th. And that's when we're going to have the hearing for people who want to come and ask questions about the budget, and then the approval. So this is not changing at all from what the adoption is. So the numbers that are here are the ones that are going to show up on the adoption on July 5th.
Anything else, Mr. Smith? Go ahead, you want to add anything?
The only other thing I want to point out is, again, you see on the first page, you have the allocation for the M&O and the district additional assistance. The big number on the federal projects is still that, because we have those ESSER funds that we haven't finished up spending. It's not as much as the previous year, but we still have some budget there on, mainly that $31 million is because of the ESSER funds that we have. And includes Title I, Title II, and all of the titles in there.
Any other questions, members of the board, regarding the budget? Ms. Salcho?
What is the limit on ESSER? When will it run out?
It's September of 24,
Okay.
25.
Oh,
I mean,
25.
so, yes, so
We have until then.
we have until then to
Right.
spend them all, yeah.
Okay.
As long as they're allocated, and so we get until then to spend them.
Thank you.
Mr. Ramos, any questions? No. Any other questions from the board?
No.
Just quickly, the new construction at the high school, have you made any allocation or any propositions at all for the maybe new classified help
Yes.
that might be?
Yeah, for now, I have at least allocated 2 more security people and 2 more custodians to assist. Again, I know it's a big area, but then again, we're gonna adjust. That's what I can afford at this point, but if the need is there later, then we can address it. But right now, there's 2 custodians and 2 security people for that new area.
Right before, I just wanted to, not a question.
No, go ahead, Mr. Ramos.
What about the migrant children? Are they separate from, that we see they have a different funding that you have for them?
That comes from Title I, so there's an
It won't
allocation.
affect the budget in any way?
No,
Okay.
no. They have their own funding there, where they get clothing and where they get all of those things out of the Title I grant.
Any further questions, members of the board? One last thing, the questions that come up time to time regarding the invoices, the vouchers, purchase orders, and the expenditures that are made regarding benefits to people sometimes that are questioned, and you know what I'm talking about, memberships, uniforms, all those kinds of things. Are those included in this budget so that if any question ever comes up on say on a voucher or the invoice, that that somebody was being paid, or their membership was being paid, or some type of a benefit, that has to be definitely approved by the board. Those are all included, so
Correct.
there's no
They're
question
allocated
from the-
under
from
side
the-
budgets,
from the
yes.
side. Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the proposed district annual expenditure budget for fiscal year 23 to 24.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion, members of the board? Anything you want to add?
I do want to point out, since we're on the budget, just for information purposes, this year's 301 money that went out to teachers in total was $13,831. And so that went all to our teachers. And that site fund can also be utilized for classroom size reduction. So in terms of hiring extra staff, that could be where we would pull money if need be. This district is probably one of the few that I know of that gives 100% to teachers in 301 money.
Okay, and just to make sure that we're totally complete on all the discussion and all the accuracy, Sonia, do you have anything you want to add?
Please,
Please.
she worked
Did-
hard.
Did he do all right?
Very good.
All right.
I'm getting better.
Okay,
At
so then
least.
we're ready for the question. Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item 2B, discussion action on the approval of certified hires, Ms. Almanego.
As presented, we have a long list of teachers, part of our recruitment that we did this semester. And along the list of teachers are 2 interim assistant principal positions for the vacancies due to the movement in principal to Stevenson and Huber that caused and created those vacancies. And so as presented.
Well, to get a little discussion going here, to entertain a motion to approve, Mr.
I move to approve the certified hires.
Is there a second?
Second.
Myself, Ms. Salchow. Members of the board, discussion, questions? Mr.
I just
Lynn?
have one quick question, but without naming a name. The third bullet from the bottom, is that a new person? Or am I thinking of a
No.
different person?
She's coming.
No, she's coming back.
I thought she was a nurse.
She went to study to be a nurse and finished her 1 year, I guess, 1 year program.
Oh, good.
And decided to come back.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, comments, discussion, members of the board? Anything you want to add? Have a motion on the floor?
Yes,
Roll
sir.
call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item C.
Do we want to
discussion-
introduce anybody before we move?
Pardon?
Is anybody here that just recently got hired?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead and introduce yourself so that our board you can come up to the podium, please.
I'm loud. I'm a teacher. I don't need no podium.
Okay. Well, thank you. Tell us your name and what school you're going to be
Hi, good morning.
at.
My name is Marcia Bruno. I have been working in Cochise County Education since 1998. I have been committed towards all types of students, from our inmate population to our young children. I am now coming to you all as a middle school science teacher at Ray Borain. I am very excited to, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to bring back our science fairs. I have some plans. I'm moving forward and working not only in Cochise County, but also in Pima County digitally. I'm very excited. I've been teaching middle school science for 7 years, and I've been a teacher in Cochise County for over 20 years. And I just want to say thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Do we have anybody else besides any new, and we have our 2 new interim assistant principals, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Good morning. I'm Maria Trinta. I will be the new interim assistant principal at Ray Brain.
Good morning. My name is Noemi Escalante, and I would be the new assistant principal at Paul Huber.
Welcome.
I think it's interesting to note that I think both of you are in that program, right? That the
Yes.
board
Yes.
approved. And I think this is a good example of what.
What we're building here.
Yeah, the
Yes.
benefits of, we're going to reap from that program. And thank you very much, and we're great to have you in those positions.
Thank you.
I think we have another hire back here.
Yes, we have one more.
Go ahead.
We have one more.
Hi, good morning. I'm Ana Pacheco, and I'm going to be the new science teacher in DHS.
Welcome.
Thank you. I hope nobody got moth-bitten by that podium. I thought we were going to do away with
We're
that
waiting
thing
for July 1.
and send it to the Smithsonian.
No?
No? Okay, anyway. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Welcome, all of you. And the rest of you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting as she's setting the example there.
Put her on the spot.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're on C, right? Discussion action on the approval of classified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, we just have one, a custodian for Clausen Elementary.
Mr. Lennon, will you?
I move to approve the classified hire.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes, item D, discussion action on the approval of certified administrative transfers. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, as presented, Ms. Sydney Fimbres, currently the Paul Huber Middle School Assistant Principal, has been there for a couple years and will be named the Stevenson Principal. And now Julian Martin, current the Assistant Principal at Rayburn, moving over to Huber Middle School Principal. And they are both here. I didn't expect them to be here because they are on their 7 days off or something like that. You know, that's how their current contract is. They only get about 7 days off. So,
Well,
They're here.
before we get them up there and they say thank you and what a good job they're going to do, let's get them approved first. So, yeah, we have a motion on the floor, right?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve.
Okay, Mr. Lindemann?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramos. Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes, and now it's official, so now you can come up.
now
and-
you can come up.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, okay. And good morning, I'm Sydney Fimbres, and I would like to say thank you, and I'm ready for the next step to do a great job at Stevenson.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julian Martin. I'm excited to be the new principal at Paul Huber Middle School. I look forward to working with everybody and my new assistant principal, and working with Ms. Samaniego and working side by side with Ms. Lamadrid to make Paul Huber stronger.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. and
Thank you.
Congratulations, and we expect great things.
You know, we wish you all well, and of course, we have confidence in Mrs. Samaniego's judgment, and we know you all do well. And I hate to be redundant, but I think that program that we instituted a month ago is going to be very beneficial to the district, especially in this day and age when it's important to understand the demographics and the dynamics of this school district, and people that are within the district now understand those things, and for that, we're appreciative. All right, so we'll move on to item E, discussion action on the approval of classified resignation. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented.
Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the classified resignation.
Is there a second
Second.
by Ms. Salchow? Any discussion regarding that? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes, item F, discussion action on the approval of ESI hires for school year 2023-24. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, I had brought the list of individuals last board meeting, but just for information, so I'm bringing them back for approval. They are completely hired by ESI, and these are the 4 teachers and 1 administrator. 3 teachers and 1 administrator. Well, 2 teachers, 1 counselor, 1 administrator. Yes.
Entertain a motion
I move to approve the SI hires.
by Mr. Lindemann, second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes, without any deep discussion, you know, I see Sarah Marley there, and I think of the language program, and so I think of the experience not only of the teacher, but the concern, and it just for next meeting, I think you need to make a report regarding the dynamics that are going on at the state level, especially with the state superintendent, because it could deeply affect this district. And I think there's 4 models or 3.
Well,
And we're not going to get into a discussion, but the board needs to understand what's happening there, because we could have some issues because of again, the demographics of the district and so on, so.
I'll do that for July.
Yeah, and I think you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
the
right?
dual language programs.
And not to be cryptic, but there's a lot of discussion going on right now about loss of funding for districts, and of course, this district would be a prima facie example of what they're talking about with language and disabilities and all those kinds of things, deficiencies, not disabilities. So we need to have her make a report regarding that at the July meeting, so that this board is totally advised about what the eventualities could be regarding that. Mr. Lynn?
There is an article in today's Star, just
What's
on
that?
that topic.
On that
Yeah.
topic, okay.
Right, okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor, right? Oh, no, yes.
It's already been approved.
Yeah, it's already been approved. All right, so that'll be for the next meeting. All right, item G, discussion action on the approval of athletic hires, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, Laura Franco, and a cross-country head coach, and she was an assistant coach before, and Christopher Felix, cross-country assistant coach, and you have all the background information.
Mr. Linderman, will you make a motion?
Yes, I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Discussion, members of the board? And again, I think it's great that you have all that information regarding those people, and
And I will tell you that Laura Franco is an avid marathon runner internationally. She runs and competes all the time, so I know she's going to be a great asset as a coach.
is she here?
No, she's not here.
Well, I don't know if she's going to get approved or not. I'm just kidding. You know, I think she's the one that's, is Laura Franco, is that what you said?
Yes.
Members of the board, when you look at employees and you look at the caliber and quality of the people we continue to get in the district, very good. This individual is really got a good background.
Yes.
And
And she was my former student, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Really, and
I'm not old.
I see where she was
Don't go
outstanding.
there.
Graduate.
Don't go there. Yes, Mrs. Elchow.
Were you Miss Salchow's student?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, don't you say anything, Mr. Ramos. Okay, so we have a motion.
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes. Item H, discussion action on the approval of athletic resignation, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, so obviously Ms. Trinta, who's now, was just approved as the interim assistant principal, has to resign from the volleyball coaching position.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman, second.
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes. Item J, discussion action on the approval for renewal of sole source providers for fiscal year 2023, 2024. Mr. Soto.
Again, board members, every year we have to renew the companies that provide sole source, and what that means is that there's no other company that provides us exact same services as they do. One of the exceptions on the list is Diane's Photography. And the reason or the justification of why we're recommending this to be a sole source, not only that she has had experience with our schools to do multiple kind of pictures and stuff like that, but if you remember in the past, we have had some issues, especially with high school graduation, where some of the companies have issues to drive all the way down here. Sometimes we select a company from Phoenix or even Tucson, but then I think it happened at one year where nobody showed up. So I think by making this recommendation and approving, then we have at least somebody local that we can, deal with on a way. And like I said before, she has had a lot of experience with the schools, and I think it's a good recommendation that we approve. The only difference is that she's not going to be in charge of yearbook. High school and middle school will still be getting quotes to publish the yearbook. She will be able to provide pictures for the yearbook, but not to publish the yearbook. So again, that's the only exception on the list of those services. I don't know if you have any questions.
And under the provisions of sole source, she does fit that category, so there's no problem there because of
Exactly.
all of the things you mentioned, for the
Yes,
record.
correct.
All right, do we have a motion?
No.
Mr. Lindeman? would you-
I move to approve the sole source provider.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Selchow. Any discussion?
I'd just like to say that Diane Ortiz is a major asset to this district and the community, and I'm glad that we have someone of that caliber to be here for us, our needs. Thank you.
Agreed.
Do you discuss with your staff what this means, sole source, especially in this area of the difficulties you've had, and maybe, as with everything, all things are not acceptable to everybody, right? So, but they need to understand, and I
What
think
it
you
is.
do, that the reason we had a little sole source is because of, for the
The
main
issues.
things that we
Correct.
said. All right?
Correct.
Any further discussion regarding that?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berrien?
Yes. Discussion action on the approval for renewal of multi-year contract for fiscal year 2023-24, Ms. Samaniego.
This is just Heinfield and Mitch auditing services, and it's our third-year renewal, right?
Correct. And we have had Heinfield and Mitch for so many years. Since I've been here, they have been our auditors, and they're a really good resource when we have questions, about whatever, all of the things that we do at the business office. I mean, the whole district, but mainly at the
Well, we're going to
business
get into a
office.
couple of questions about that in a minute. Let's get a motion on
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. For discussion, because it's important that the board understand, you could go with them. What's the extent of the multi-year contract with them? Is it finite? Can you, 3 years, 5 years?
I think it's 3 years. This one is
5.
for 3, so we can opt for either 3 or 5 years.
Right.
This one is for
And
5 years.
you're in the third year with them, or much longer, right?
No, yeah, but we have been doing this to extend, kind of, we've been with them for many, many, many
And
years.
that's what the point I want to make, is that they're totally acceptable to the district.
Right,
And not
right,
only
absolutely.
because they get you all your accolades, right? They're not buying you off, right? I noticed you just got another accolade from some entity. What was that about? I got a letter. Did the board, didn't they?
Oh,
the
yeah,
administration
for
get-
the certificate of achievement, which we're
okay.
gonna bring later every
Right,
year.
But we
Yeah.
don't, enough good things have been said about her, now she'll walk out of here and want a raise. So, so anything else you want to tell the board regarding the auditors?
No, like I was saying, I mean, they're a very good resource for us whenever we have questions about procedures and for things. Again, we have had them for so many years, and that's why we keep recommending. Yes, we do have an option to, and I remember doing one RFP for auditing services, but again, why change something when it's working, and especially with them? So we're very grateful and happy working with them.
Okay, members of the board, discussion. Anybody have any questions or comments regarding that? Mr. Lindeman?
I just had one quick comment. Because I've been here so long, no, I remember that we did have a discussion at one time about changing.
Correct.
Because, for various reasons, I don't remember the reasons, but like you say, if it's working, that's fine. So I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Any other members of the board comments regarding or questions? Any questions about the auditors? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berrien?
Yes, item K, discussion action on the approval of agreement between Douglas Unified School District Number 27 and PNR psychological assessments, PLLC for psychological service. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes. And Mrs. Walker presented this to us, and so this agreement will allow us to have some in-person psychology services. Currently, under the Stepping Stones agreement, we have to contract out for a lot of things, including some psychologists. However, those are only online, virtual psychologists. And so both psychologists that are presented or will be part of this agreement are actually psychologists that have worked with us here in the district, and they're physically here. So this will allow us to work with them for that 0.5 and allow some of those services to happen in person with kids instead of virtually.
Okay,
So
have a
this is
motion
very
for
much
approval.
needed.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion by the administration?
No, we are very pleased to be able to have the two psychologists who have a long history of working and doing a fabulous job. It's just psychologists are hard to find right now. Everybody's doing things online.
Yes, Diego, and those are coming out of Phoenix, Tucson, or what?
No, they're here. They're from Sierra Vista. They actually have worked with us for many years, but recently they had gone to work subcontract out with Stepping Stones, but they have separated from them and are going to work in Douglas with us if approved.
Further discussion?
I just have a quick comment also. When Mrs. Walker presented to us, did she say that they were going to do a couple of changes to the contract at that time?
Well, the question came up about the per diem, and
Oh.
I think I asked the question. And did you get that straightened out with them about, because it was implicit in there, that they were going from school to school to school, and that could get pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So what did you find out about?
So Katie,
That's in Bicordi.
and that was the question, and the per diem, and so it was listed, as part of the agreement there. And as stipulated, if it's anything from within the district that is excessive enough or whatever, then, they could potentially, bill us. And that was part of the agreement. So Katie did reach out to Stepping Stones and is going to make every effort to say, okay, if a psychologist is needed or one of the related services providers is needed only like at one school, that they would do their work there. So instead of switching. So there's ways we can work around as much as we can to avoid those additional fees.
But they're still there.
Yeah, they're still there. And that's nothing we can get away from. Unless we were to have our own people, which they're hard to find.
Well, the major concern is that we're using the taxpayer dollar efficiently.
Yeah, and that's what Katie will assure, that as they're scheduled, we try to avoid those, and like I think Mrs. South just said, from one school, Sarah Marty to Clausen, for example. So it's not like the good thing, we're not in a big city where there could be a lot of mileage incurred.
And if I may add, I believe that wording has been on that contract previously,
yeah.
but we haven't been billed for
Yeah.
any per diem before. So that, just so you know.
And Lynn and Casey have been working with us for
God.
15, 20
Yes.
years.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Members of the board, Mr. Smith? No. Mr. Lindeman, anything else?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item L, discussion action on the approval of Arizona School Medicare Direct Service Agreement between Douglas Unified School District Number 27 and SCAS Education and Mountain Home. Ms. Samaniego.
So this is something we need to have in place, and this will allow SCAS to do the Medicaid claims and which generates all that revenue back to the district. And so we just need to have this agreement done. And it's been reviewed by our attorney, and it's good to be presented for approval.
Mr. Lindeman.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
This isn't new, is it?
No,
That we're
no.
bringing, we
No.
typically
Yes,
have
Medicaid
somebody
billing. Mhm.
that, or a company that helps us with
Yes.
Medicaid billing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item N, discussion, action on the approval of participant institution data sharing agreement between Douglas Unified School District Number 27 and the Arizona Department of Education and the Arizona Board of Regents. Ms. Amaniego.
So this is a new agreement that was brought forth, and what they're trying to do is really assist high school graduating seniors to go through the process of getting accepted into the university. So we worked with ASU last year in getting the students that were going to be graduating the information to ASU so that they could submit these letters. So if you looked at the information, instead of the typical, I'm going to apply for any of the 3 state universities, is they reach out to you based on the information provided by school districts, and they generate a letter for you as saying you are already accepted into the university based on, X, Y, and Z, and these are the next steps that you need to do. So they're really trying to reach out instead of being an outreach service, instead of waiting for kids to apply and enroll.
Okay, Mr. Lindemann,
I move to approve.
is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any further discussion, members of the board? Anything you want to add, anybody? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item N, discussion action on the approval to renew the district service agreement between Douglas Unified School District Number 27 and Vale Unified School District for the AZEDS outreach program. Ms. Amaniego.
And this is again a renewal. The Vail has always supported especially our new student center staff. When Mena was here, they were the consultant firm. So this is just ongoing.
Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second
Second.
by Ms. Salchow. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. We don't need an executive session?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes,
did-
it's an executive
do you wanna-
session.
Do you want to go into executive session for that?
Yes.
All right, so then we will go into, the governing board may vote to go into executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03 subsection A, number 1, for the following personnel matter. Consideration of a certified teacher to be released from his fiscal year 2023-24 contract. Entertain a motion to do that?
I move to enter into executive session.
Second.
Is there a second?
Mr. Smith?
Second.
Oh, by Ms. Salchow, go ahead.
No, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith?
You're the sergeant at arms. It wasn't Mr. Smith?
Yes.
All right, that's what it is. Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. We should be brief. You want to take a break, members of the board?
I do.
No.
You want to take a break?
Just
Let's take
short
a
break.
5 you, Ray. We're back in open session. Item 4A, discussion action on the request of the release of the fiscal year contract 2023-24 submitted by Mr. Carlos A. Chavez, certified teacher, Douglas High School. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, it's my recommendation to approve Mr. Chavez's resignation, release him of his contract, no liquidated damages, rehireable. And I do want to thank Mr. Chavez, who had already retired and came back and gave us another 8 years. So for a total of 38 years in the district. His long, good standing as an educator speaks for himself. He was I taught with him at Huber, one of my mentors, and so I want to thank him for his long years of service to this community and to many, many students, including my own child, my own siblings. So thank you to Mr. Chavez.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve by, according to the superintendent's recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Salchow.
Come on. Come on.
You know, I had to go to the
Gotta
red
be
blue on
fast.
that.
You're getting fast, you're getting fast, yeah.
I just want to comment quickly about Mr. Chavez. I've gone full cycle with him. I hired him right out of college. And then, of course, here I am today when he's officially retiring again. So I've been the beginning and the end with him. Carlos was an outstanding high school athlete himself. And when he came back, he coached in various positions. I think he coached almost every sport we had, with the exception of cross country. I'm not sure, but he's coached them all. And he did a good job at everything he did, and he was a major attribute to the youth of this community, and he taught at every level. He was high school, elementary, and he's going to be but we wish him the best. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Already did.
Yeah, we have a motion.
We already have a motion.
I'm sorry, roll call is.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Brain?
Yes.
I have a question.
Well, I have a question. Did you vote here?
Yes. Yes, I voted, yes, was he a student?
Did he
Yes.
say, oh, you were, did he vote here or yes?
Yes.
He said yes, not here. I'm just kidding. Motion carries. Wish him all the best. Anything else? Anything else you want to bring up? Any future dates or anything? Reminder of the.
July 5th for the approval of the budget.
Yeah.
At 2 p.m.
And also, we're going to have two significant items on that agenda, and we'll do it when we go through the agenda meeting. One is going to be the recommendation on the A Avenue School, which we have to do, and we'll get into that discussion later. But anyway, that'll be on the agenda. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Nobody wants to go home.
So come on.
Well, by proxy now, he looked over there at you like it was me.
I know.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Here.
Thank you, board members, for being here.
Thank you.